We are back after map 1, and in a surprising turn of events, Kassad, your boys did it. You had no faith in them, and look what happens. They pick up the first map. Pretty close, but they still did it.
Looks like they have their number on Inferno, right?
Yeah.
It's like they beat them last time 16-11.
Yeah.
This map should have been 16-8, 16-9.
Yeah.
At the best for them, but they screwed up the 2 rounds, 5v2 and one more. I think we have a video of that one.
Yeah,
as well.
we should definitely look at the 5v2 to start off with, right? That one from round 8 was like, it's a lot of positives in Sinner's favour, and they're still unable to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, they got 2 pistols, right?
Sure.
They got 2 pistols. Yeah, this was one of the gun rounds that we have to see here. They are in a 4v5. 5v4 already here. Dev gets the smoke kill. 5v3. He plays it smart. He just plays to contain, you know, the ruins. He doesn't overpeak here or anything else. They're 5v3. They get another kill after that, and then the disaster happens. Like we're gonna see a little bit later here.
Yeah. Well, Oscar is the guy who's gonna be closing it out here for Sinners, but the problem, also Arrow getting that kill through smoke. You're like, okay, this is over. We're looking at a 5-on-2 half HP on B-Stick as well. But, well, cool POV, by the way, here. It's going to be... There's still utility on that CT side that they could have expanded. Instead, Oscar is given individual fights. Beastie comes in from the top of the boxes to making a 2-on-1. Just, you know, uncoordinated from the CTs of ONYX, not utilizing their utility and giving Oscar free fights. Yeah,
definitely. Oscar did what he needed to do in that 2v5 for him. Like, he went for the kills, he got what he needed, and it's just a terrible retake from ONYX. But, you know, even in rounds like that, and there was another one on 13A that I thought that was going to be like a final nail at the coffin for the Serbian team. Yeah. After that, they managed to kind of stabilize, and they won 16-14, which is like massive respect to them. You know, I have to say, other than like the team effort, I have to like commend IGLing from Dev, right? Because he always, when there was a situation like against Gamble of the CTs, he always kind of called to go for the right side, where the sides that where is no CTs almost, you know, when like 2 people holding A, he went A, and then 2 people holding or 1 B, he went B. So it's a really good calm kind of IGLing there, so it helped a lot.
Yeah, even when they had fumbles, like we can roll the other clip now.
Yeah, the eco, right?
Yeah, the eco one. I mean, there was a little bit of a fumble there, right?
Yeah, the thing there, they went for an A execute at the end, but they changed their mind. It was another good call. Like you see after this, there was another good call. He called to go back to B. There was nobody B besides Beastie who is coming back right now. But somebody got spotted. I think, yeah, number 5. That's Bondi who got spotted by Shock, I think. And then they all started rotating, and it was just a slow execution at that point. They had a little bit of utility they can use. You see 1, 2, 3, 4 flashes left, and they just didn't go in as a team. And after that, it was a disaster. Yeah, you know, there was a boost and then a headshot here.
Beastie gets a nice one there. And also the boost helps obviously tremendously. They have to turn around, and Beastie gets another 2K.
Either way, it was a good call, right? To come back, and it was like almost nobody there, just execution that was bad. Overall, good IGLing and very calm, and like they stabilized after. Usually it's Serbian teams, like they would choke. I told you, they would choke and just they would lose, you know. After
and a lot of teams that don't have a lot of experience would fumble in that situation.
I agree, but they won, so they did what they had to do. They won Inferno. Surprisingly, like you said, in the green rooms, they get to beat the CT side. You know, Sinners picked the T side for some reason. I don't know why, but. It's whatever it is, they used it against them, and they won the first map, which they had to win, so they can go to that nuke, you know, because I don't think there is much chance on Vertigo, because Sinners are a very good Vertigo team.
Well, is there a way though, right, where Sinners are sat mindset? Yes, we can talk about the experience of Oscar, right, and what this lineup's got overall, and the past events, and we talk about the RMR, we talk about Pro League, but is there a world now where ONYX feel pretty hyped up after this? They can pull off some sort of Vertigo win, or is it just too far of a difference in the skill when it comes to this map?
Well, Serbians are fiery people, right? They're passionate, they're emotional people, right? And
I would have never have guessed, mate.
I mean, obviously after the first game they would go, and you know they're probably going to be hyped up. Even though this particular team is not a group of like very emotional, highly emotional people, right? I would assume this win would just give them like a lot of confidence coming into Vertigo. I don't know how they feel on Vertigo themselves. Never really talked to them about it, but. I imagine it's not very good, but the confidence, the momentum can kind of maybe carry them.
Yeah, early shutdown on the CT side and Vertigo. Yeah, it can definitely become spicy, but I kind of still feel that Sinner should be taking it.
It looks like the style of their like gameplay is not really good for Sinners. You know, they keep like, you know, having troubles against them. So, this is the chance for them right now. This is the chance. And if they don't use this one, they have Nuke, which is alright map for them. You know, they can do something. They beat whoever it was yesterday, and Isuba, sorry, in that second map. So there is a chance right now. Again, you know, a lifeline for them again after yesterday's kind of mediocre performance.
And just real quick before we get into the second map, Arrow, right, as just an individual, getting more experience, you know, the academy player coming up. We're starting to like what we see from this guy. He can be a difference maker. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, he makes smart plays, doesn't overextend. He seems to be capable in clutches. Yeah, just situational awareness. The spatial awareness seems to be on point for this guy.
Couple of clutches, young guy, first land. You know, it was also a team win for them right now. Even though Arrow had like a 25 kills, rest of the team, you know, like Dimke and Impulse like 20 plus. Bondik also played, you know.
He was there.
He was there. He was alive.
There. Yeah. And then, you know, overall they had a team effort to win this map. Really surprising and really positive for the Arrow.
Well, let's see how Vertigo goes for the Arrow. Yes,
for superhero Arrow. You know?
There you go. They might take on that new nickname for him. But we are going to throw it over to Dweg and Jay to take this one away. And potentially there could be another upset coming this way, unless we can see it turn around for the Sinners and they win their map pick of Vertigo.
Not quite saw that upset, unfortunately. Yes, Inferno was great, but it was also 16-14. And I think from here, now that we're getting into Sinner's map pick, this is where the series should go where we expect it to go.
It should do, on paper. This is a great map to come through from Sinners. We saw in their best of 3 against AGO, Vertigo didn't come through. This time around it is. And for the ONYX side, I don't really know what we can expect a massive amount from them, only because they've only played it 4 times in the last 3 months. They've got a 50% win rate. They just don't play a massive amount of this map.
Yeah, and that's the big problem, I feel like, is the fact that there is such little experience on it. It's a very difficult map to play in general, so you're sort of looking at it and you're thinking that this is probably a great basis now for the Sinners now to just take control of the series at the very least, considering the Nuke's coming up a little bit later on as well. They had a great result on that map in the past as well during the Online Cup. There's a lot going into the Sinners right now in terms of both the long-term and the short-term stuff. And just, again, 16-14. That was still a battle for ONYX to take that overall. So we jump straight into the pistol round for our second map of the series and see how far ONYX can really go. Set out towards the ramp default as they kick things off with contact. No kills and damage, though.
Yeah, quite passive out to the ramp take rather than the full send aggression. They've got some nades to work with to combine down into the site. And for ONYX, at the moment, Impulse is really the only player on A. They've got to start bringing rotations back in from B.
Molotov set out, flashbangs going over. Shock to be the first man out of the gate, or at least that's what you think. His teammates taking over. Control with Impulse has taken over. Zedko's head straight to the headshot. Arrow to follow suit with another one right there. 5 versus 3. Sinners might have the site, but they're down by 2 men.
Oh, what a shot coming through from Impulse to start it off. And now even with the retaking smoke, things look excellent here for ONYX.
Yeah, frag. Walk ahead, Flash is turned away from, shots out, he gets that 1 kill. Oscar to follow suit, bonded with a trade, but Oscar makes it a double. A 2 versus 2 to recover that, and Beastig is sneaking up behind them. In comes Dimke, but Oscar gets him to drop as well, a triple up. Impulse now on the center of the site, so is Beastig. Takes that challenge, forces him off entirely, and he will take fight, he will dish out some damage, but he will not get these kills. I don't think he's getting the retake either. No kit, no time, no chance. It's Oscar with a quadra and a pistol for Sinners.
And after the analyst just ripped in that last map about not converting 5-on-3s and 5-on-2s, I wonder what they're going to say about that round, because that looked like it was everything for ONYX. The first pick comes through from Impulse. Arrow's expecting the over-aggression. They get that retaking smoke down 5-on-3. Things look excellent. And then all of a sudden, what's going on? The Glocks are getting all the kills.
They're so chaotic in that particular round as well. You could have seen it going either way in that one. I honestly wouldn't have been shocked and ONYX got those trades together. I think the real sin, though, is the fact that Oscar was on such little HP and he still got the quadra at the end of that pistol. So base is held. ONYX down by the pistol round. The conversion should also go the way of Sinners here. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't do. Mac 10s across the majority of players, which is actually a bit non-meta. We usually see T-sides buy down into the full-blown rifles as opposed to the Mac 10s here. Might still work out for some money farmers. B-Stick looks towards the outside of the site. Got 1 player center of it, and Dav turns the Deagle out from back plant. Neofrag's dropped first.
They've got a lot of players on B. Close range. Bondik has not been seen. I don't know the season's here.
Impulse will get his frag together for it. Mac 10 working towards mid control for Oscar, and Shock can turn it around. 3 versus 2, now towards 1 as Dav gets his responsive, and they know exactly where Shock is. Not checking that center of the site enables Bondik to be the difference maker, and for the second round to go the way of ONYX, at least you should imagine Shock has got a flank angle, and Arrow is crossed without giving information away. Is he thinking about doing the hero jump? Badass jump? Not quite. But be careful about this.
Yeah, it all just comes down to trying to bait a mistake, and really no one's overfacing. Even BonDik is waiting out for that.
Shock's watching. Stoic's off as well. They've got bomb control. There's so much work into the favour of ONYX on this one. Shock grabs that corner and eventually gets taken out for it. So nice effort, but not to be.
Do you say there was no way that Sinners can lose that round? Have you lost your mind with how often we see anti-force buys finding wins? I mean, that is the current form of where we are right now, is so often those force buys after losing pistol comes into round conversions and gets won.
I can't remember if I specifically said no way or said there's an unlikely chance.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Roll it back.
I'm sure someone's going to clip it and at me on Twitter later. But
this is even a round, if we carry on that notion that Sinners could win, the force buy with the Deagles, it is limited in the extent of what ONYX had. They've only got one smoke in this round.
That's a fair assessment to make, but damage has been done to Oscar very early on into said round. Dimki looks down towards Ramp and catches him for 61 points of HP. Looking for a little bit more. Beastick might be the next man to face, though.
Yeah, ONYX need to get a good start. If they really want to try and put some pressure onto Vertigo, convert these early couple of rounds, lead from the front, and even Dimki's just jump peeking, sees all the info, knows what's going on.
Smoke set with Incendiaries out for the CT side as well. Tapped forward from Beastick. This will keep him suppressed for now, but only for now. Minute and 10, and it's so slow on this default. They're out towards Ramp again here, Sinners. They're not going to commit so heavily.
Yeah, Shock is just waiting for one of the CTs in mid of Dav to start walking forward, make an aggressive duel, try and take some map control away. So far for ONYX, they've been quite contained. They haven't let themselves get too hungry in this situation.
In 50 seconds, BonDik just trying to shoulder bait Incendiary sets as well. Trying to press the T's just by the flames. That's it. Nothing else coming in. The utility execution comes out from the Sinner's side. Bomb going to commit first on Zedko. Takes a fair amount of damage on Beastick's part. Shock and Beastick will be the first two players to fall in the execution, as Neofrag will be the third man out. BonDik makes it a triple overall dab to close it out pretty nicely, and effectively here for the ONYX side. A much better anti-eco, I guess you again, kind of anti-eco, kind of anti-force buy.
Yeah, anti-force buy. They brought it down completely.
Better anti-force buy for the ONYX side compared to what Sinners were doing.
Yeah, that one right there for Sinners. They had the approach of just brute forcing the jewels out for the B stairs, and BonDik is in probably the perfect position to use that Mach 10, either behind the box that he was in or towards that woodbanger position. You want to be close range, you want to try and really minimize the distance, and for Sinners, we could see some quick pace from them.
Straight out towards mid. Dav gets the first kill. Shock there with the first trade. Oh, an AK that they can potentially play with here on Shock's part. No Kevlar for the T side, so there's going to be aim punch problems to deal with. Especially against the Mach 10s of BonDik and Arrow that can rip right through them and get so much money out for it. Set out towards the B site and towards middle. But they're not going to overextend.
Now, when it comes to Vertigo Impulse, last 3 months, 1.19 average rating. The next player down is Dimki at 0.98, so you have to start wondering to yourself, is it just going to be the Impulse show here on this map?
Mach 10 shoulder baiting, Beastick pressing forward with the Glock out. The first contact, I think Arrows detected him though. Nade timing could be everything. Oh, Beastick dead. His teammates didn't take much damage to turn it around though, so still a 4 versus 3. Semi-workable for Sinners. Again, eco caveats. Mach 10 of Arrow will look towards the left-hand side, get caught off by Shock, so 3 versus 3. Now BonDik's the only player to hold down the B side. They're going to jump face in, Shock's going to fall. Mach 10 struggles to deal with the second player at the corner. Zane Cole actually gets traded by Neofrag, so a bomb plant can be secured. And for a full eco, this isn't that bad.
That's an excellent round. If they can get one more pick out of this, there'll be a cherry on top.
I'll look for it. See the shadow of Impulse, but Dimki swings out ahead of Stack. And does find the third round for the ONYX camp. But again, bomb plant, 3 casualties, lots of damage being done there by the Sinners. They have every reason to be happy.
Yeah, and probably looking back to try and see where the AK is at some point. There it is. Dimki's going to be able to find it. ONYX, they'll be happy they won the rounds, not so happy with just how much damage got taken in that one. 3-1 scoreline, and BonDik starting things off looking red hot.
Indeed. Kind of look like not quite the player that you expect to be red hot, honestly, from this side. Again, you look towards the guys like Impulse and Dimki as being the main standout, I guess, stars, really. Yeah. BonDik is definitely on a hot streak at the moment. A veteran from Ukraine, of course, the only Ukrainian representative in the tournament, I believe. So wants to go deep for the sake of his countrymen, especially considering that they've got one of the best teams in the world and one of the best players in the world. We show that it's not just him, there's plenty more talent in that region. AK setting for Sinners. They want to show their own region strengths. And they are losing these early couple of fights. Neofrag to 56 ahead of the smoke on ramp.
They used to get a lot more Ukrainian players in some of the lower divisions. Coldy, SDY, some of those blokes, Crush, Arch, some of the ones that have disappeared. Some of them are still around. Bondic trying to represent Ukraine. Sinners trying to see if they can represent the T side. Neofrag with that early damage. Shock waiting for a lurk play in from mid. And Arrow has not been able to see Neofrag or Oscar just yet.
Jump out, or watching, going to try and rotate back to... Well, think about rotating back to grab the bomb. Still default set in here for the Sinners. Just going to play out whatever they can, try to look for that trade. And Oscar has found it out towards the ramp face. I think Arrow was going for the jump face past the sandbags.
Yeah, it all just comes down to a timing peak there. And now even on the contact towards the B side, there's a couple of CTs to deal with. The NWP in from mid from Impulse has got to find something on a return.
Bondic leaning up, Molotov's in, flashes going over, all sorts of util thrown out. Dav will be the back line, Bondic in the front. Will Sinners check the banger position? Or will they just fake it? It seems to be the fake call, and Bondic's going to get so much information for this. Takes that fight on Zedko. Zedko wins it out. Meanwhile, Neofrag has walked into the A site completely uncontested. Dimkey's given up information, and Neofrag gives up his life.
An important kill in from Dimkey, and he's even going to try and force the fight, get further aggressive, try and make it uncomfortable. The bomb is still taking time. He's going to rotate back to B.
Appropriately to do so, because the counter rotation, thanks to that information, has left it in completely uncontested positions. Zedko will wrap it in with Shock to try and sandwich in Impulse. B-Stick has fallen in trade, so we're 3 versus 2, but it's still favored. Bomb's not gone down? Okay, no, it did went down. Okay. I thought for a second they didn't get it planted, but no, they're fine.
This is a retake that probably won't happen. Might as well just save in this 2v3. No nades and man disadvantage. They don't have a lot of information of where these T-side players are either.
AK is watching Scaff, AWP is watching entrance in the back lines. Zedko on the off anchor will find the player peeking out of CT. So kill found, Dimkey can't find a trade. Well held there by the Sinners, and their confidence has returned.
I just don't get that. Don't know why they're going for that kind of a play. Yeah, they've got a lot of money. Bondic doesn't have a crazy amount. Dav 2, Arrow as well. You have a look at the situation, just you weigh up the risk versus reward. If they had some more util, I could see a way into that round. That was just unnecessary for me to go in for a 2v3 like that.
Attack pause for ONYX here. Appropriate time to call it early. They've had some glimpses of brilliance, and they still hold a single round lead. That might start to change here. The money's not amazing. They are dropping some weapons, so they should see a buyout. Arrow's got to consider M4 or SMG with util.
No, I'm even considering how that round went the way of Sinners in the early portion. It seemed as if Bondic made the right call. He over-aggressed out from that banger position to see that they were rotating away, and one of the last players from the T side was actually keeping that crosshair placement on cue in case there was an aggressive move. It all started with Oscar with that opening pick onto Arrow, who does have a FAMAS to work with in this round.
Yeah, not quite the SMG full set, but incendiary and his smoke still available to him. AWP of Oscar looks ahead, and Zedko that catches Arrow immediately. Straight shot, straight shut down. Molotovs will counter them, though. The CTs are driving away from sandbags and stop the push.
Dimkey just hoping to get a lucky spam, get a pick back. Right there, Pace just beaten onto Arrow, not expecting that at all. Caught completely blind by the flashes.
Molotov on site, inside alley. 2 players, good line up for Dimkey, or his spray could just go completely awry. Dav does get 2, almost that third. Zedko responds to it, grabs that bomb, and should get it planted.
Bondic needs at least 1, gets that flash over the top from Impulse, can try and peek with it. Hasn't been able to catch anyone just yet.
Great bait, just finding Orpa's position. The counter flash from the T side does not blind Bondic either. Smokes go down to cover off the main cross. The side cross smoke should fade in a couple of seconds. Leans up this scene where Oscar is. Bondic spraying through, doing damage, but still no kills on those trades. Impulse is falling away. Zedko's sitting on the bomb. He's ready for a knife. But fortunately, he's not going to have to use it. The rotations back from the CT forces will get towards the B site, save the AWP and the M4.
Yeah, something we were talking about too when we had the Fiend game up on stream on day 1, Jay, with the best of ones, is ships with the knives. Last night, Escade got to play where the stand-in of Fiend was playing an official. Got to see like 3 knives, 2 in 1 round. So keep an eye out for that in the next game.
Yeah?
Ships loves the knife.
He does.
Not as much as everybody else, though.
I guess you could say you ship him with the knife.
Yes, I guess you could.
There you go. That's a reference that people are going to hate, but you know. 3 all to the board. Sinners now evened up against ONYX with a serious amount of potential to take the lead away from them and really get this T-side underway. Because there's no buyback. ONYX have got 3 USBs.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that really the AWP and the M4 is going to have to be the target for the majority of the damage if they can use those pistols as a bait. Another aggressive duel coming through for Neofrag, taking some early damage at least.
Impulse, warp set, flashes ahead, nades back down to position, should do minimal damage. Actually, Dimki gets out of dodge. Was a lot more aggressive than he actually was. He does fall back, maintain his position and maintain the HP advantage because Neofrag has dropped to 2, and that's about as good as a USP without Head Kevlar.
And this might be shocking to say, but this kind of looks winnable for ONYX. Knowing that you've got an AWP and an M4, you've got at least a smoke and this much damage in the early round. If they can stack up appropriately, this could turn into something special.
How many times have they really gotten a successful gamble stack though, Dwight?
Yeah, that is true.
That is the concern. I've got 3 players out towards this alley position, leaning in towards the ramp take, spotting information that nobody is out there. Incendiaries up the T side are going to indicate otherwise. Oscar starts walking out to the B site, and he's backed up by several players, and Impulse has rotated back with Bondic behind him. He's looking for that first pick.
I like that they're putting both the rifles here on B. Needs to adjust over to that left-hand side, and I think he might.
He's covered himself off to that cubby corner, going to get ahead of White. Oscar takes peek, Impulse spotted in the M4, not even going to need to provide support. It's a shot in and a second kill to Neofrag. A third peek not going to be allowed. Zedco burns him from beyond the position, and they fall back out of dodge as the AK of B-Stick starts walking up. Hard rotates called in by ONYX time and time again, going to leave A completely open. The bomb should get planted in time.
And they've had some great lurks up to this A side to bring that bomb over late, and for Dav, this could be him just getting shut out straight away.
And plant down default. Dav trying to bait in B-Stick to make a mistake. The AWP is now inbound. The M4 is up at Sniper's Nest. It's B-Stick to shut down Arrow. 3 versus 3. Looks at Dav, perfect. Headshot, shot follow suit on Dimki. Bonded with unresponsive. Now he needs to put his high fragging counts to his favor as he gets a second pick. Hold on. 1-on-1. Zedco very close to the bomb's position. Bondic taps the full 10 seconds, and Zedco just swings for the kill. Easy pickings for him. And 4th to the board as Sinners do take the lead.
It definitely looked winnable. I'll put it that way for ONYX. They got a lot out of that one. And disappointing, perhaps, knowing the position they put themselves in with how much damage came through, with how they were bringing players back out to that A side. Without that lurk, really, of shock in from ramp, I don't know if that round gets won at all by the Sinners side. It's only that they had that information and that space towards A that they could rotate that bomb back over.
Well, listen, they're exploiting the over-rotations heavily from ONYX. Like, they're forcing them back into a site with an execution or an attempted execution or a fake execution of some sort. Then they just counter-rotate, leave that one lurker to push up. They're reading them so well here. ONYX a second tactical to try and figure the counter to that play, whether they not just leave someone there for the trade and try and take that individual out so that way they can try throw Sinners' rotations or positions entirely off. There's lots of things you can do, but right now they need to find the correct answer.
Try and break the streak. Those M4s not going to be backed up by an AWP. Looking at the utils, light on the incendiaries.
Utility thrown out here as the rifles press up towards ramp, smokes on. Shots out for the orb of Oscar. Arrow he's going to try to take contact. Dimki hunting for a position, but the teams are just set out towards this mid angle. Down, shot, spray. B-Stick comes up with the opening K. And advantage for Sinners.
Now a lot of space to get taken in from mid. Oscar does catch at least one individual. It's more information gain coming out. And for ONYX, knowing the position they're in now, they need someone to make an info play. Start pushing forward, try and see if they can create something.
Just that one frag with damage being done quite heavily to B-Stick, of course, 22 points of health, and a dive down for shot to try to join his teammates. Smoke's being passed about as B-Stick still has his eyes set at the edge of that smoke. Seeing nothing still. Zedco will fire ahead a banger, try and catch off anyone that might be there. Headshot would be a bit cheeky, and it's unsuccessful in this one. There's nobody out there. They're going passive again, but leaning into ramp.
And even with that spray up to banger, there's been so many lurk attempts that ONYX don't even really know if that's a lurk or it's just a whole unit. Dimki playing up from Orange is now starting to hear everything.
Backs up to reposition utility. Nade on. Did a decent amount of damage to Neofrag. Not a massive amount, though. B-Stick can come up with a kill instead. Impulse to fall. And now Dimki drops to Zedco. Arrow with one trade responsive. Back ahead of the AWP. 4 versus 2 still for the favor of the Sinners camp. And you have to question whether this is worthy of a save call now for the ONYX side. They definitely want to think so.
Yeah, probably just hanged around seeing if someone from Sinners was going to over-aggress Jay. And, okay, there's a chance of getting a pick. We pick up an AK, we go and save anyway. That whole round, though, there was no way they were going in for the retake.
You know, out of dodge, out of position. And out of the round for ONYX, a 5th to the Sinners board. And now they're starting to look really confident at this stage here. The teams are really getting going. It might have been awkward with the conversion of the eco round, the fact that they got the anti-force buy. And of course, the 3 rounds off the back of that, but it has looked stellar ever since that point.
You'd have to imagine that this map is going to be comfortable. Yeah, when you're the underdog in the series, when we're seeing the rematch of not only the best of 3 in the IOC a couple of months ago and that best of 1, something like Inferno, it could be quite close. It could be competitive. For Sinners now, on really their home turf, okay, the win rate of Vertigo recently hasn't been incredible. It's still a strong map from them, and the competitors that they're playing here on Vertigo are always high tier.
Yeah, pistols out for the ONYX side on this setup, so high tier on the buy for the Sinners side and all. See what ONYX and Arrow can do. And to their credit, the hero rifle rounds have been pretty respectable for ONYX so far in this series. One of those hero rifles will get involved. There you go, case in point.
Yeah, that one right there, that's just pretty standard, really. 2 players peek in, you're expecting to get that trade back. Oscar actually getting a pick with that Deagle makes things now not so easy for the ONYX side. Even out towards the B stairs, ONYX probably desperate for another pick.
Especially since that pick as well from the Deagle was against Arrow. His M4's now out of play.
Yeah, you don't like that, do you? You don't mind it if the pistols fall, but if the rifles do, you think to yourself, and Oscar again. Another pick. He's been finding quite a lot of success at ramp.
It's funny too, because he used the Deagle to get the rifle and the AWP to get the pistol. So a bit of a lopsided effort there. It
I don't know if he planned that.
No, definitely not. Impulse's Deagle will lean out towards mid, try find something here in this position, but A's again completely opened up, as it has been many times over the course of this map. This is going to be a 6th round for Sinners. They're just going to press on, get the bomb plant, secure it from there. The best call for ONYX is to save the weapon. They've got money, they've got loss bonus, so in theory they could buy around it. Maybe they might find a justification to go for a clutch attempt, but 1v4 it's probably impossible, right?
Yeah, you'd probably look for exits again. They're one of these teams, so far at least on Vertigo, where they don't just instantly save. It does seem as if they don't mind hanging around for a few seconds, seeing if an opportunity arises. As of this round, there's no overly aggressive picks. You've been able to pick up an AK for Impulse, so just hold on to these couple of players. Strengthen the economy, even though the loss bonus is still good.
So I think a 6 on the trot now here for the T side line. No, 5 on the trot. Yeah, that sounds about right, because they won the pistol, lost a few after back of that. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Okay, well, 6-3 regardless to the favour of the Sinners camp. Exit frags attempted as Impulse will end up dropping. ONYX should hold on to the M4. Indeed, he barely does. Oh, bearing down upon him, though. And the rifles can come back in. Real hard buyback from the ONYX camp. AWP involved in all.
Yeah, and I wonder what they need to change up. I think ramp control is something they're struggling with. I actually wouldn't mind seeing a play from ONYX where they actually take some forklift control, where they go really deep, make it uncomfortable for Oscar, because all it feels like right now is the CTs are just jump-facing at sandbags, and they keep getting picked off by Oscar.
You mentioned him having impact. Wonderful player to watch. They bring him up on the desk all the time for good reason. It's Arrow, however, that becomes the star of this round. Finds Neofrag to kick things off on the right foot. Shock tagged up heavily as well in that exchange, and while Arrow might be on 12 points of HP, it's Impulse that takes the point position next up. Baited out by the flashbang. B-Stick will find Arrow. 4 versus 4. Impulse is blind. Dimki's caught instead, but Impulse's Molotov will find a trade. Will they be aware of his next position? Well, Zedco's going to deal with Dav in the backlines, and Impulse just waits. Backstab involved, though. Shock has missed out his chance. Impulse gets that one trade, but fortunately the response is there. It's ONYX on 4 points of HP against the clutch disc. He's caught Oscar. Smokes back down, Incendiary on the side.
Shock just trying to see if he can play the time. ONYX to win this clutch is going to be difficult. Knowing he's on 4 points of health and knowing the AWP only managed a single pick there in that difficult circumstance. And ONYX is thinking about a late wrap round. Get into mid, get down the ladder and get back out to ramp.
I think he's aware that the bomb got dropped on the site. He's got to find a counterplay. He can't take this head on. At 4 points of HP, he's going to lose every fight, every day.
Imagine if Shock picks the bomb up and goes into CT spawn and goes A. There is a very good chance that he can start slowing this down and start playing the mind games.
He watches out, looks to the back lines, looks to the sniper's nest in particular, expects that's where ONYX is going to come from. Not to be, though. Walks up, back still turned, bomb plant will be heard. Will Shock turn around towards ramp? He's still got his eyes set towards CT. Oh, ONYX, he's got this. Surely he must do. Shock has now got vision, but the M4 catches him off guard. The HP number's still too much to handle. As the man gets out of dodge. Had he stayed on default though, he'd gone back towards ramp, that would have been a win for Bondik.
Yeah, it's always a what if in that sort of situation. I can guarantee you he's on 100. If he's on 100 points of health, he wins that fight with that kind of a play. It's only that because he's on 4 points of health, as soon as you don't get that instant connection, you're just going to be a dead man. And you can see the turnaround that comes through. Sinners really capitalizing on that round, and ONYX, they would have felt like that was stolen away from them. There was a good chance there.
Deagle's up. 5-7 inbound, shot bringing out against Oscar again. They'll dish out the early damage here for ONYX, but this is a half bite. Debatable even in that sense. Kevlar across most individuals, head Kevlar for Bondik. No rifles at all, just these hand cannons.
And now you start getting into a position where no matter how close the rounds are, you have to be looking at the scoreline. And this streak is just carrying on. Sinners have got a perfect opportunity of getting double digits towards the turn and a half.
Incendiary's down for now, the CT suppressing. Mystic trying to walk out with the bomb. Get picked up and pushed into the default positions. They are leaning into the ramp control once again here. Minute on the clock. There's no direct contact from the CDs. They're very passive here.
Yeah, they're grouped up together. It's the unit set up right here rather than wide spreading, which we typically see on one of these eco rounds. They're trying to play as a complete force. I'd like to see them retake some of this ramp control late or mid round, because that has just been something they've almost never done.
It's a possibility. Happens walking out. Dav 5-7 forces forward, sees where Beastic's at. Neo Frag gets his 2 kills though. It's all just a ruse. Beastic with the distraction. Molotovs, nades, flashes going over. Headshots not taken by the T-side. Arrow gets 2. Dimkey with 1. Back to a 3v2 scenario. ONYX has somehow found these trades. Dropped the bomb in the open again, but Shock in the back line. He's spotted one player at the edge of the smoke. Struggles to get that kill, but Oscar's found Arrow in the interim. It's all Dimkey. 18 points of HP. Has seen one player, but focuses on the wrong one. And the 8th round rolls in for Sinners.
And not just this round, Jay, maybe I'm being too negative, but I'm just seeing a lack of creativity from ONYX. It feels as if the only rounds that are coming close, or the only rounds that are really being won, comes down to individual prowess. When it comes to the tactical basis, we need to see more if they want to try and keep up. That round right there, Arrow really steps up with a Deagle in that default position. You start to get some man advantages, and then there's a backstab out from mid that's undetected, that they don't have that information. That Oscar's able to come up from ramp and make sure that that round does not get out of hand.
Very animated stuff there from the coaches of both sides. I was going to say Fakers was looking pretty intense out there with his tactical pause that was called in by ONYX. But even your boy Tom Keys is
ex-player.
Yep, sitting down and thinking about and discussing how things went a little bit awry in that round, because they did. Like, those were pistols that they had almost lost against. Came down to a backstabber recovery play and a mistake being made here by the last man that ultimately turned out towards the Sinners side. Had those things not happened, it would have been a loss.
Yeah, the coach of Sinners played under Dark Tigers in the 2018 V4 event with Beastic too.
Yep. Synergy between those two players might be something to look out for. Synergy between Bondik and taking bullets definitely seems to be appropriate for the CT side. Zedko's found that first frag, and Dav has been tagged up elsewhere.
Opening man advantage just comes in ease. Do we want to say a couple of man advantages? Dav on 15 points of health, being a B anchor. All it's going to take is 1 HE to this pillar position, and he's done.
Tagged heavy utility coming in, shot ringing out against Shock, reface, back catches him, 4 on 4, nades up, spray through for Neo Frag, and Dav does get caught for it. Advantage still for Sinners USP, trying to find that trade, and Arrow can find it responsive, but it's Impulse that falls in turn, so advantage still Sinners, bomb gone down, smoke suppressed, they're going to stall for time, and I think even Dimkey is going to rotate to save.
I was begging that they were going to go for this. This is the first time in a while it looks like they've got an opportunity, and actually, yeah, they are going for it.
He was actually setting up utility for Arrow to peek ahead of the game. Ahead of the smoke, Beastic so close towards him though, can't get the kill for it, shooting at the Achilles heel, minimal damage done. He's on 22 HP and Smoke can go to the bomb, oh it's missed out. Dimkey has got a one-way involved instead, Arrow's going to stick it regardless, still sticking it, kill back for Oscar, and now Dimkey's got to hunt for him in a 1 versus 1, Deagle out, M4 finds the kill, looks for the AWP because he cannot win the round. It's another one to the board of Sinners.
And that's just pressure building, smoke placement awful there by the City side, running out of time. Once that smoke doesn't go down in the right position, you're almost never winning that one. And I will give credit to ONYX for actually having the balls to go for that. It felt as if it was needed, that someone had to make a play, even in a retaking scenario that doesn't look that promising. It is a 2v3, you have to back yourself every now and then, and that was the round they do.
Damage was done there to the Sinners camp. All 5 players ended up falling, so the economy game might be a little bit difficult to handle. got a relatively decent float of about $2,000 minimum. Economy might be hurt in the next couple of rounds if ONYX can get the reset involved here. They've got AKs and AWPs out. Might be a force buy involved for round 14. That's all, again, resting on the fact that the C teams will win this next one.
And we have seen some one-sided results from Sinners when it came to their best of 3 against the AGO side. 16-7 on Inferno was the most one-sided. The map that actually got played in the last map that didn't go their way. Flash over the top, Dav does not have information that Zedko's under the stairs.
Incendiary should drive him away, at least from that position, looking out ahead of the gap. Look for the wall bangs if possible. Not to be here though. Incendiary's on. Nades will come down. M4 to lean out. See Shock. Dimky and Arrow line up 3 players. Zedko can get the trade, but it's a 4v2 now for ONYX.
And just look at what happens when they retake ramp late rounds. 40 seconds left on the clock. They start over-aggressing, something they haven't done before, and it catches Sinners completely off guard.
You asked for that a few rounds ago as well, Dweg, so maybe you should coach this team instead.
Don't know how much better of a job I'll do.
6 rounds to the difference. Smokes on, and it could be turned to 5 at this stage. M4 firing away from Arrow, spraying back. AWP for Impulse catches Zedko, drops the bomb for what should be the final time in this round. Neo frag, a 1v4. All they have to do is not give up the 1v1s. They face together, and they do lose Dav, but Arrow gets credited with the trade, and it's a 4th round for ONYX.
Yeah, credit to Dav there for the call. That was well established, and it felt like they needed a change-up. When you're down 8 rounds in a row, you start getting desperate. You start thinking about ideas. What have we not done? What have we done? What's found most success? What's found little success? And realize what the next sort of setup is. And I say it's a retake ramp. It's dry, isn't it? They don't have a flash over the top. They peek together, and Sinners, even though there's a crazy amount of ramp players, they have no idea that's coming.
Yeah, they're not expecting there to be so much aggression in the late round. They're expecting there to be aggression in the mid-control, though. Impulse so far pushed up that he's forced into a corner by Shock's engagement. Finds that pick. Gets a free AWP as well. We're going to try to use it against Dav. Not going to face too far forward, though. Expecting the CT player to come to him.
He's a good AWPer, Shock. So anytime an AWP's in his hands, he's still going to be able to find some decent connections. Might not even need to. Near Frag and Zedko getting easy picks.
Gets out of dodge, evades the AWP's position. Now forced to the main B side defensive. The only player back there, though, backup is on its way towards mid. So again, they can hit the A site. It's only a case of timing when Neofrag starts peeking up. They are going to commit towards the A play and Dav. That's so unlucky with the timing. Spotted B-Stick as the player from main crossed out. And Zedko to clean up Dimkey makes it 10 to the board of Sinners. And this is kind of sort of what we expected to see from this matchup. I mean, I kind of hoped it wouldn't be as one-sided, but Sinners pick Vertigo. ONYX had the best chance of Inferno. They had it close at Inferno. And now this is turning out to be a one-sided affair, at least for this first half.
I'm not surprised at all. Again, this is one of the best maps in the pool to come through from Sinners. It's their most picked map, and you have an ONYX side that's played it 4 times, 2 wins, 2 losses. They don't play it very often. Sinners putting some more approach in towards ramp. AWP? No. Impulse won't even strike with the first kill. It's actually Dimkey with a couple.
How? Okay.
Pace got them.
Clearly so. The ramp takes have been fantastic for ONYX. If only we saw this out more from them in the half itself. Last couple of rounds. They should be able to gain a 5th off the back of this. Spam forward with an Eagle. Oscar going to get some sort of trade back. The AWP is going to engage him. Dimkey's found another frag elsewhere. Impulse to close down Oscar. This is going to be one of the best rounds we've seen on map here from ONYX.
Yeah, it came down to the AWP being posted from Impulse at top ramp. Arrow aggresses through with the SMG, and then Dimkey just has such a high impact round. Zedko's been spotted. 1v5. This is just never going to happen.
Yeah, they've got the info now. They've got the bomb control now as well. All a case of when he peaks, not if he'll peak. Arrow have this cross lock to wait for the man to give up his life. He'll smoke it off, actually. He has a bit of utility. Shots will ring out from him, but there's still a player in ladder room. Dav to close out the half with a 5th round to the board of ONYX. So credit where it's due, because that's a recovery. It's still 10-5, though.
Yeah, the scoreline doesn't look great. That last round was played pretty well by the ONYX side. They've got some variation when it came to the late stage. Going into the second half, though, realistically, there can't be that many opportunities. We've seen ONYX go 3 for 3 in pistols so far in this best of 3, so if they can go 4 for 4 and get a good start out into the second half, that could put them in a decent position.
We're talking about historical stats here from the ONYX side. They might not win a lot of Vertigo, they might not play a lot of Vertigo. The times they have played it, though, generally been better T-sides from them. So
I expected.
There is a certain way into this matchup. There is a certain complexity or complexion, I guess, is the word I'm looking for, in which they would be able to formulate a decent half here. If they're going to do it, though, they're going to need these next 5 rounds, ideally. Pistols out, Glocks versus USPs, no upgrades for anyone on the CT side. Impulse has a P250 set, but no raid boss. Utility in for him and Dav.
Oscar slightly wide up into the angle, catching all the information, just falling back, and ONYX might as well just continue with the pace, get that bomb down on A, and force Sinners into a retake setup.
They're just giving up so much info to the Sinners side. Might not be the best idea to force forward, especially as the stack is now involved. Oh, what a nade! Center a match between Dav, Bondic, and Arrow. Dav's on 33 HP. And Neofrag will be able to get these kills involved. Dav to fall. 1-man advantage for the CT side. Reload forced out as Arrow just to get ahead of the game. Right up top, sees ahead. The first man can't get a second kill though. Zedko with the fast responsive. And now Bondic should secure the bomb point. Is trying to do so here, get on the lower ground. Dimki's there to back him up, and the smoke also provides a bit of cover.
Yeah, Bondic trying to get back out of safety. Dimki up close and personal. They're going to try and fight this.
That forward, Dimki falls 2v4. Bondic can't hold on to his 2 picks. B-Stick and Ossa clean up him and Impulse, and they find that pistol for Sinners.
Hey, you talk about the early information. Oscar with the jiggle out from Ali, his teammate with him at ramp, gathering everything, start rotating back. And for the T's, they're down from a man disadvantage. Arrow gets on top of default, tries to see if they can bring that way back in. Even for Bondic and Dimki that's playing up behind Yellow, where do they go? Those smokes are dissipating. You can't fall back to ramp. You can't fall back to Ali. You're in a position where you're stuck in the middle. You just have to keep fighting and hope that you're able to handle the trades.
11 to the board of the Sinners side. ONYX will have to force the buy back. Have the bomb plot bonus at least, so there is Galils. There are Tech 9s. But again, SMGs and M4s, automatic weapons across the entire CT board. It's not looking amazing. Really got to step it up right here.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine so. And Sinners know going into round 17, we convert this, we pretty much win the map. We get into a bit of a position where they're going to be up to 12, up to 13. You've got a lead by 8 rounds. You put yourself in a real driving position to take us to a third. ONYX start regrouping out to the B stairs. They do have some util to work with for an XE.
Lots of in. One towards the sidelines, one out towards Banger. Zedko on the site itself will receive the first contact from Dimki, center of the site itself. Doubles up against Dav, who did find the trade back on Shock. So 4 versus 3, they have at least forced out the bomb plant.
Oh, I like that Zedko just got out of there straight away, play the man advantage, play the retake. They've got heaps of flashes to work with.
Lil's in, flash forward, CT's wrapped the corner, B-Stick will be able to get Arrow, 2 left standing, 1 left standing, Bondic well out of dodge, should be sandwiched in, is Oscar that gets the kill before he even needs that back up, 12 to the board of Sinners. ONYX, I mean, it did alright to get the bomb plant, but the force buy means they can't buy around it.
Yeah, excellent use of those flashes, they had 4 to work with, and just notice, 4v3 situation for Sinners. The 2 kills they got onto the bomb site when they were retaking, both players just couldn't see anything. Bondic completely blind, Impulse is completely blind, and then you're in a situation where, because the util is so strong, ONYX just can't see anything.
Pistols out of the upgrades for the T side.
I'm really disappointed they haven't bought up here again, Jay. You're down 5 to 12, you got another bomb plant. There's no excuse, you buy up here, you keep pressure on.
I mean, they have got only 1 pick against Shock though. Like, it's not like they've got to do a massive amount of economical damage. It's not like they can reset them. I respect it. Get the guns out and establish a true T side. Yes, it will be difficult to bring back the 13-5. I can see the thinking in it though. Like, it's not a completely invalid criticism though. Like, I understand the perspective. Maybe if they got on another kill, maybe 2 more kills, they could have justified it. Here they are towards ramp. It's Arrow. Top of these sandbags. B-Stick with his kill nades up. He does turn around that frag towards Neofrag. Player on the outskirts towards 51 gets away with 2 kills. That's Oscar. SMG involved with $1,200 of bonus. And B-Stick there to clean up the next. Impulse still makes it impactful though. 2 versus 1 for him. And he gets Shock here. You might not even need the force spike to win this round. Triple up for the man. 13 HP needs to win the next headshot on Zedko though. And that's going to be way too tough for him to handle. 4 casualties taken by the CT side. It's 13 to 5.
Look what happened if they would have forced there. More util, better weaponry. That round probably goes their way if they go with the same sort of setup. Again, that's always the what-if thinking, which you can't really get into the head of. It is always, could it have happened? Possibly. You can't really think about it. What you have to think about is what's going to follow. And even going into this rifle round, yeah, ONYX is going to say, great, we've got the NWP forward, we've got the AKs. You've also got an AWP on the city side to deal with of Oscar.
And he's been great with this AWP and all. Setting with early utility, flashes over. They're trying to force the CT players forward against Arrow's position. Seems smoked off, counter Molotov in to try to keep them at bay. Pick up that bomb and commit towards the B-side stairs angle. We've got Dav walking in alongside Dimki. Dav will fall, but it's a trade back very fast from the other AK. AWP of Oscar with the crack angle. He lands it so well. 4v3.
And not getting flashed off at all. There's all this util, smokes to go down. Where are they? They're not smoking off CT spawn. At least Impulse gets a trade back.
It's a similar mistake being made by Neofrag as it did over on the T-side line. And no mistakes from Beast. It can be afforded. He's in the back lines, coming in from stairs. ONYX counteracted it, though. Footsteps should be heard. Oh, this could be massive. This could be so massive for him. ONYX fallen, and now stairs is compromised. Impulse can trade back Oscar. Win out the AWP v AWP fight. 2 frags in a round. Him shots dive down. No, not ready for Arrow next. So now the backstab becomes the only force, and Beast will jump around the corner, which Impulse will catch. Get the first of the half for ONYX.
Impulse is a great player in post plants. We have seen so many situations when it came to their best of 1 over the Sinners, when it came to the best of 3 over Asuba, and what we're seeing today, anytime he's on the T side and they get the bomb down, it just feels as if he's very comfortable working with that pressure.
And that damage being done in the previous eco is going to enable a reset. I don't see Sinners buying back. They've got about close to 3 grand right now in terms of their current economy state, maybe a little bit less than that. So they can buy back with the loss bonus being where it is, and yeah, no investment, no upgrade weapons, no upgrade pistols, no utility, no Kevlar, no helmets, no nothing.
In a round like this, you're just hoping to have something cheeky. Ooh. Triple man stack? Why not? Try something different.
That's curious, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, you see it from time to time. The issue is you don't do it on a rifle round because you just get swung out by a flash and you're all dead instantly. So anytime there's an eco or there's a half bio, you don't have a lot to work with. It's one that it could catch your opposition off guard.
Well, no one's out there towards mid, so even if it had any potential impact, it's not going to come to fruition in this round. Impulse, first frag on the execution. Oscar caught back. Hard stab back in the rest of the 60 players. Arrow gets 1 trade. Strongly able to follow suit with one of his own, but it's all cleaned up by the rest of the T-side forces. 13-7. The rifle should get brought back in by the CT side.
Yeah, the AWP can get passed over. Neofrag investing into that, passing it over to his teammate of Oscar and going in for the M4A1S in return with that body Kevlar. Will mean B-Stick's going to be on a FAMAS, and for Zedko, it's going to go M4 as well. Light on the util for the most players. Keep an eye on where for Oscar will be, because he's the only player going into round 21 with a kit in play.
Keep an eye on how aggressive he wants to get as well. That AWP's been so clinical to opening up these rounds, so if he falls early, that kit might get dropped in a very bad position. It's currently placed out towards the mid control with the crossfire alongside Shock. It's Neofrag that draws first blood on the ramp default instead. Pushed in aggressive, following suit on Dimki as well. This is falling apart for the CTs of the T side, I should say. Oscar comes up against Bondic as a 5 versus 2.
Now this round's pretty much over, just getting shut out. And I feel for Arrow because you could probably tell that he's uncomfortable at the bottom of ramp playing that lurk attempt. We have seen so many times in the second half that Sinners have taken ramp control or just exposed him completely. This is another round that he just falls so quickly.
Leaning up to bridge, hoping there's more CT aggression, but Impulse is just hoping for mistakes at this stage. Ones that Sinners should not give up to them. 5v2, which Sinners have done well at playing in the disadvantage scenario, and well... And they're up by the 3 players. M4 in for Neofrag. Will try lean in, try catch that AWP. There's a decent swing for Impulse. Quick response from Oscar though. That drops the bomb, and now they know where Impulse is still.
Yeah, Impulse just waiting for another overface, hoping that some of those B players start coming in, and that is what happens. He's just not quite looking that way at the right time. 14 up onto the board for Sinners, and for ONYX, it felt like there was some breathing room, not a lot of it.
7 rounds to the difference, 2 to go for Sinners to take this map, their own map pick. ONYX. I mean, at this stage, what do you need to do is the question that I start asking.
Yeah.
Like, what has got to be done to try and counter players? Or do you just go to map 3 and just forget that Vertigo ever happened?
No, I don't think so. You still got to be always in it. You can't throw away maps no matter what the scoreline is. You've still got to have that belief that you can still keep it close and competitive. They do need an opening man advantage. They need some space to be created. They need to find a way to find how they can control ramp, because in this mid pick, Shock is just waiting for the players to cross.
Smokes up to mid, bouncing off Scaff. Counter smoke on Scaff. Keep the T-side player suppressed. Shock just watching as Dimky tries to attack from the main entrance. It's Zedko that gets Arrow instead. Backup man, still unaware of the second T-side player that's so far pushed up. Oscar sees nothing out towards ramp. The default plays in from the CT forces have just gained that one advantage, but nothing else.
Yeah, Dimky, all it's going to take is just a slight over-aggression from Zedko, and he gets caught. There it is, 5 on 3, and now for ONYX, the individual picks are falling apart.
Perfect timing on that face, perfect shots pouring in, the headshots across the board. Shock and Zedko cross-firing for a triple for Zedko in particular, even on for the Quadra. Map point for Sinners. Yes, they lost Inferno, but they are not losing Vertigo.
No, and this is how I actually expected Inferno to go down. I thought that we would see a more confident Sinners. I thought that they would be leading by example, that they would really be trying to get under their skin and frustrate ONYX. Instead, it did go down in the way of ONYX 16-14. We've got into map 2, and Sinners have just looked a lot more comfortable here. That streak of rounds in the middle of the first half for 8 in a row really set themselves up.
I can't blame you for thinking that way as well. Like, I definitely was among that particular thinking. Again, I gave a bit more credit.
You said 2-1!
I gave a bit more credit.
I was with that thinking.
I know, I was with that thinking in the sense that I wouldn't have been shocked that it would have happened, right? I gave a bit of credit saying there's potential for a 2-1. I didn't predict the 2-1, okay? Don't take words out of my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah.
Kill found on Dav to start things off. 4 more kills to go for Sinners to secure this one at a 16-7 scoreline. And just with the setup that they have here for ONYX, I don't see a chance in this round.
And even with that, this is the round that could put Sinners for the game. What is going on there? Not even sure that there's a mid player. Shock just caught completely off guard. Zedko at least get a couple of kills, but the trade's back for Impulse.
How are they finding the trades? What? Oh god, Bondic struck in top mid. B-Stick's fallen. Bombs down on B side. Maybe we might not be done just yet.
Oscar and Neo frag in from the B stairs. Shock just caught so far off guard. And now for Impulse, he wants to actually aggress the fight.
Not Bondic as well. They've read this so well. They know that they're coming in for the backstab. Neo frag, first facer, smoke, Incendiary and HE. The Incendiary going to force Bondic out in the open. He does fall, so it's all on Impulse now. Orb shots ringing out from the CT side. Impulse to face ahead. Trying to look out a main. They could line up for him, and he clutches it. Keeps the game alive. Keeps ONYX alive for the time being.
What did you say about this round, Joe? Didn't you say in the 5 on 3?
Shut up.
I'm just saying what you said. He's never going to live this down. Sinners, that whole round, it looked as if they were caught sleeping. Bondic just gets the easiest kill of his life on the Shock. That's a great trade from Impulse. It was really this play there that made this round winnable. The way that he picks up the AK, he initiates one of the rotates on the A side, and ONYX win a round that they probably shouldn't have.
I will point out that when I made that statement, you also agreed with me. So it applies to you as much as it does to me the same. Don't BM me.
I didn't say it.
You agree with it. You said yeah. Neo frag said yeah to the opening frag. Appropriate for his namesake. Boost up, 1 CT aggressing, and he gets a little bit too big for his boots. Impulse with a trade.
It is a dink off at least, and Oscar with the NWP misses his shot, which allows Bondic to strike out from mid.
Man advantage swings the way of the ONYX side. Finally seeing confidence now that they're down on map point. Could still be a game on our hands. The question is will it continue down this route? Is there another way back in? Is there a reset round on the Sinners side?
Gamble stack on A, look at the CTs.
Third player still yet to join them. B-Stick with a swing out. Could line them up. Gets 2 frags. Trying to make it a triple alongside Shock's assistance. The AWP can't frag back. He's blinded by flashes. Advantage tipped back to the favor of Sinners. And B-Stick finally is traded 2v2. Looking back to the side, it's Shock's Deagle Zedko on the counter flank. And Shock's just going to draw their attention to the back lines of the M4. Try to deny the bomb from the ramp position. He's seeing where Impulse is. And it's all Bondic. 3k clutch for him. He knows where Zedko is roughly. In the AK in, take the spray. Zedko's giving him a shoulder phase. And gives him up a frag. 1v1. Deagle on site now. And Shock's still trying to counter this position. I set 4x3, catches him, and Shock will catch the frag. And the final round of the game, 16-8. Sinners will take us to Nuke.
And Sinners looking comfortable in that entire map of Vertigo. We saw a couple of moments here or there where we can sort of praise ONYX and say, okay, they did this well, they did this right, they had some good calling. Overall, though, only getting 8 rounds, not quite the double digits. That was a comfortable looking Sinners and one that is looking threatening.
Absolutely. And that's the Sinners we expected to see in map 1.
Yeah.
Like, that was the kind of Sinners that we expected to see throughout this course of the entire series. If they had gotten a 2-0, would have expected that sort of performance from the likes of Inferno. That's not been the reality, though. I feel like, however, that will be reality for our third map of Nuke. Like, this just feels like it's going to be Sinners from here on out.
Yeah, again, you have a look at Nuke from the veto, it looks pretty good. We actually see Nuke getting picked from time to time from the Sinners side. They picked it a fair bit when it came to the IOC. So overall, you could see a way that Nuke is going to be down a similar path to map 2 of Vertigo.
Yeah, and I mean, Kassad was on the desk earlier. He was saying, oh no, at the veto, right?
Yeah.
And obviously with Nuke, I still have a little bit of concern. But now that we've seen a little bit more from ONYX, now we've seen a couple of capable performances from that first map and a little bit towards the end of that second map, is there still cause for concern for these guys?
Cause of concern, maybe not. Upset potential, there's always upset potential. Anytime you come into a series, if a player really steps up, I just take Blogus as an example in that best of 1, 45 kills. Magic stuff can happen. They really need to show it up if ONYX want a chance of winning this series, though.
Someone's going to step up relatively soon as we head towards a very short break. Banks and the boys will break down Vertigo, and it's off to Nuke to decide who's making their way out of Group A after this.